Hey guys, let's talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum real quick. So first of all, I'm going to start in the low time frame because it'll upload. You'll be able to watch the first part of it faster after the upload. So if we do something like this here, make this flat. Obviously, we're currently red on the 15-minute MACD. So as long as we remain red, I'm not adding any positions. But if we fill this out and then flip white, I'm going to be looking to add longs on the flip to white. The other issue is if this stays red and continues down, then I think our move might be complete. So if we get here and come down, then we're looking at possibly the end of a pretty long run. If you look at some of the charts I've published already, and you just hit the play button on these, we're really at my targets. We're at my high time frame targets. I did have one higher. I have one 11.4 that we can definitely push to, but because we're already approaching these upper targets, I want to keep that in mind. Even like the first one I published, we're above my first target there. Ethereum as well has moved up and hit what I had charted as my first target. I was thinking that we'd push through one more time, push through above that level. And this is all based on volume. I chart all of my targets based on volume, high volume areas. Once we push through that level, I was expecting to reject back down. We've already gotten to that level. So with that in mind, we need to be cautious. We need to understand that this could be a market-wide top rather than just a simple retracement. We haven't had any real deep retracements. In fact, here I was expecting a deeper retracement, but we really never retraced much at all. If you go up to like the hourly chart, this is a pretty strong impulse with very little retracement behind it. Let me just take these off real quick. Our hourly MACD still looks pretty good. You can see some divergence here, but it would take a lot to flip it red. In fact, we'd probably be back in this zone before it flips red. I would not be surprised to see something like this, some consolidation in here before continuing down, and it would most likely flip red in this zone. Returning into this level is bearish for me. We had a range here. We broke out of the range. If we fall back into the range, I would expect the range lows to break. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little further. Let me put my completed structure and my wave projection on here. I don't remember projecting 12K. I guess I did. I just drew that up. That's nothing I've published or anything, but a possibility that I've talked about in this higher time frame structure. Because I do believe that we are in a corrective wave that's correcting this whole piece, all of this, then we could be up at this high and still be internal to this. But at the same time, let me turn that off. What we know for sure is that this is a completed wave based on breaking out of the trend line, weekly, 3-day MACD flips, so weekly flipped red. That means this wave up was complete. When weekly flipped white again, that means this wave down was complete. But because I'm expecting to get into a contracting price action here, this does not have to continue up just because it flipped white. You really can't take entries based on MACD. It's a lagging indicator. But if you're looking at 15-minute in trending markets, it's done pretty well at getting you back into the trend. Therefore, I've used it for that reason. But MACD is a lagging indicator, So specifically on these high time frames, looking for entries based on MACD is kind of crazy. You wouldn't want to do that. Now we could absolutely continue up here. There's a ton of reason we could. The daily looks pretty good. So I do think that we could head to 10.2 today and potentially even higher in the next couple days. But for now, sorry, I got distracted by my sister's message. What were they talking about? So yes, we continue up, and if you look at the candles where we take the wicks off, you can see we broke this lower high. There was a gigantic wick here, but based on the candle bodies, we got above this lower high, suggesting that this trend is complete. We already said it's complete based on the trend line break, but actually breaking the lower high suggests that it is 100% complete. Now, if we look at it with the wicks on, we haven't broken that high. But overall, this is a very bullish structure with lower highs or higher lows for a significant amount of time now. So if we break down this structure, then we have a correction of a new degree, of a lower degree, that's likely to be internal to this piece. Something like that, and then back up to the same degree as this move. So I still expect contracting price action. It's very possible that we continue up here, and I would say that my bias is still towards the upside, but I am being cautious because we have already hit some pretty major targets. We don't have to continue up. I do think it's likely that we continue up. I just don't think it's required that we continue up. Let's fix some trend lines here, show you what I'd be watching for. So on the 4-hour, first of all, a MACD flip to red, for me, would pretty much suggest that this whole move is going to be complete. Could we possibly have a structure like this? Let me turn that off again. I guess maybe, and then continuation up, but I just don't really buy that. 4 hours not looking great here though, and we are starting to drop back into this previous range, which we don't want to do on a lower degree than this one. We're dropping back into this previous range. So I'm watching that trend line, and I am watching this trend line here. And on the hourly, the trend lines are not very perfect today. Doesn't matter, you get the idea. On the hourly, we can really draw a trend line kind of this way from essentially here up. And you can see that we're starting to break that trend line, which would suggest that this move up was complete. I would accept a small dip below it, this, and then continuation up, but I prefer not to dip below it at all. So this is, if we have that trend line drawn here, we're pushing up against it right now. So this is that dip where we go below it and then continue up, and that's what I'm watching for on that 15-minute flip. But if we get under the higher low here and drop back into this range, and that range is based on the body close highs, if we drop back into that range, then I think our move up is done, and we probably break this trend line and likely break this trend line as well. So in other words, if 95.31 breaks, then I start looking for $8K. Yep. 95.31 breaks, then I'm looking for 8,000. That would be first stop. And we may see it bounce in these levels like this before dropping below one more time. Just making these levels higher volume than they already are. Okay, so I think that's all I got on Bitcoin. So let's glance over at Ethereum. And I was charting on Coinbase because of the chart history. So yes, we can absolutely continue up here. And this isn't necessarily a stopping point. If we break through this level, we can run a little higher. I just kind of lined it up approximately with this level here. But we could easily come up into this section. You see how we had a flip right here. Let me use the candles with no wicks. Yeah, it's pretty good right here. We used this point to launch. We broke below it and used it to break down. So we could get rejected in that range. If we were to break that, then I would still expect some kind of consolidation on top of it. And continuation up. But this pattern, let me put that back on, we would be looking to buy this pattern right here. We wouldn't be looking to FOMO into this. We'd be looking for a continuation pattern to form before we enter any positions. Now, if you're already long and we break through this, then I would say it's not a bad idea to hold some of them, even through this long consolidation. Unless you're paying funding fees, it's just not a good idea. You would want to close it pretty soon after we break through this level. I mean, you see here, same idea. We broke through it here, made a flat. We broke through it here, made a flat. We break through it here, we would probably make a flat above it. Same way. It's possible that we just continue up, but it's unlikely with how much we've already moved up without a high time frame consolidation already. At some point in time, in order to continue up further, we have to have some kind of consolidation. Same thing with this. This is just a consolidation. It's just of a higher degree. I think that's all I got. Let's look at gold real quick. Since I did post a short on gold, that short got stopped out. In 4 hours, probably about to flip back positive. Not too close. But right now it's looking like this. Is a flat. Right here. And we need to get continuation of the upside to really prove that. 1 hour has already flipped positive. So I'm not currently looking for any positions on gold. But if we break it down, honestly, if 1 hour flips back to the negative side, then I would probably be looking for shorts immediately. Similar to this, but I would expect more downside than just this piece. Right now, I think upside. I'm not going to be getting into it. You could look for longs right now, like if we dipped a little further. Then it's not a terrible long. Something like this. But it's just not something I'm looking to trade personally. you would target these highs and a little higher. But this is the same thing I'm watching on Ethereum. This flat right here is what I'm looking to form on Ethereum. I think we are probably right in here right now. So we would have a significantly long, now it wouldn't be 2 years because crypto moves so much faster. I mean, you see this piece took a full year. This move up took a full year, when in crypto we're talking about the move up on Ethereum has taken 45 days, 60 days perhaps. So it'd take twice as long. We'd be talking about a 2 to 3 month structure versus a 2-year structure. I might look at some, let me do Brent. Yeah, we'll look at Brent. I might be looking for longs on oil. Take a minute. I don't remember which one yeah, it was this guy. Had charted. So this could continue down a little further, to be honest. We could be looking at something like this. A downsloping corrective piece here, with this being an A, B, C. So I said I might be looking at longs on oil, but you kind of have to wait it out for more confirmation here. Now, specifically our group, AP's group, is watching USOIL more than Brent. And it already took out this low, so recovering that low is pretty bullish if we look at candles. Yeah, so it's close to it right now. Let's go down a little bit, look a little closer. So we never had closes below really where price is right now. So if we recover back over that, then that's pretty bullish for continuation. In fact, I would say that you could probably look for something like this if it breaks this high right here. Now remember, this is a 3% stop, so keep that in mind when you're sizing. You don't want to be trading, you don't want to be oversizing and taking a 3% stop loss. Pretty good 28% gain though if the trade works out, and you can compound as it moves up. So don't oversize here. As you get into some profit, compound your position. All right, guys, I think that's everything I've got. I'm sure there's some more I could cover, but if you have any questions, just hit me up on Twitter or in the comments here.